A lot of the misconceptions, especially within the sort of film and Hollywood world, is that Russian spies are trying to infiltrate parliaments, governments, sort of foreign businesses, things like that. In reality, they're actually stealing secrets. There's a chapter within the book Soldier Spy that I talk about we had this Russian job where they were trying to steal tech, military grade tech. And that's the type of things that they're doing in this country, because in Britain we're a world leader in laser tech, military equipment, things that were used for satellites, and they take decades of research and design. So by stealing that, they can advance their own military gains astronomically without putting the research and design in.
They're spying on our tech. We know that they've been here doing that.
Absolutely.
So how have we tolerated their presence for so long? And why does something like this trigger their expulsion? Well,
to answer your first question, the reason MI5 and the security service in Britain are so good at what we do is we light these operations up from the inside. So if other nations, perhaps in the intelligence community, might find someone with enough evidence to say, right, you've been doing wrong, you're something illegal, you're deported straight away. For us, it's better to let these operations run so we can find out exactly why they're trying to steal the tech. Right. What are they going to do in their own country with this information? We can then find out what they're going to use it for, how it's going to further their military gains against us. So it lights things up from the inside. That's why we let these things run.
That's a very interesting point, thank you. Let's just go back to Mr Rifkind again. As a former Foreign Secretary, having heard that, would you say that it's obviously much more than a diplomatic smack for Mr Putin, that this will actually really hurt his intelligence operation?
Yes, we have to realise that if a country like Russia is determined to try and kill people or attack them on foreign capitals, there's no way you can guarantee you can stop that. Even the United States or China couldn't stop them doing that unless we make them realise they will pay a price. Now, think of, for example, how damaging it was to Russia's reputation when they were banned from the Winter Olympics. This is of a similar scale. It's not just the United Kingdom that was the victim of this particular attack. It's the international community, countries as far apart as Australia, as the United States, the European Union. Think of the difficulties we're having the EU at the moment, but 16 EU countries, including France and Germany, have expelled diplomats. That's the world saying to Russia, and to Mr Putin, the Kremlin in particular, you are acting like a bandit, not like the responsible president of a responsible country. Russia is a great country. This isn't punishing Russia. This is telling Mr Putin, in the eyes of his own people, that he's been caught with his fingerprints on attempted murder.
Well, you mentioned the impact of their banning. What about the World Cup? The person who occupies the role that you used to do, Boris Johnson, the Foreign Secretary now, has talked about how extraordinary it'll be as a propaganda coup that Vladimir Putin hosts the World Cup. Do you have concerns about that? And is it enough that we are withdrawing our royal dignitaries and officials?
Well, you know, it's going to be some months from now, and I assume there will not be any prospect of getting such a wide decision throughout the world to withdraw the football teams from Moscow that the whole thing will collapse. I don't think that would happen. So should Britain stand out and make such a decision? I think that would be unfair on our footballers, and I don't think it would in itself can be the kind of action required. A political attack on Britain requires a political response, and I think we should let our sportsmen carry on doing their proper activities.
OK, let's come back to our ex-MI5 officer here, Tom Marcus. Tom, what's your assessment of the impact on the Russian intelligence operation around the world by these expulsions? Is it going to have a real impact on them? I mean, are they going to be aghast in the Kremlin that they've lost the access that they've had to our secrets?
Yeah, absolutely. Action like this, it's unprecedented, really, on this scale, coordinated globally, and it will severely degrade what they're doing. Personally speaking, I would think Putin has already anticipated this move. You've got to think where he's come from. He's from an intelligence background. He's already thinking 10 steps ahead, what ifs, and he's already making those plans. I would think it'd be daft not to think that Putin wouldn't already be putting things in place. So if we're expelling diplomats already, he's ready for the next wave, I would think.
And so, Malcolm Rifkind, I mean, what is the, what if this does spin out of control? What is the worst thing that Vladimir Putin can do? Is it a cyber attack? Is it turning off the gas? Is it worse than that?
No, where I just disagree with your previous commentator on one point is that he might have anticipated this. I don't think he did. I didn't anticipate it. I don't think many people thought there was any prospect of persuading the Germans, the French, the Australians, the Americans, everybody else who have not been subject to this particular incident to respond in the way they have. This is unprecedented. It's never happened even during the Cold War. So I think Putin will have been shocked and disturbed by what has happened. Yes, there will be some retaliation. That's unavoidable. But he will not want to escalate it, because at the end of the day, it's not just Britain he's taking on. It's now over 20 countries, including some of the most important countries in the world. And he would lose that particular diplomatic battle if he tried. So I think there will be some expulsions of diplomats, but there will be no attempt to escalate it.